Hi everyone. In this today's session, we'll talk about the introduction part for .NET Core. So here the .NET Core name having two words here. One is .NET and Core. So this .NET Core was maintained and introduced by Microsoft, and the initial version of a .NET was 1.0 in the year 2002. It was released. So before this 2016 year, it is calling as .NET Framework. And from 2016 June onwards, it is calling it as .NET Core, which is enhanced version of .NET Framework. Now it is becoming .NET. So because of this core word is giving some confusion for the developers, hence it was removed now and it just releasing as .NET. The latest version of .NET is 8, which is now in the live version, not yet released officially. So we can get it a beta version, which is a long-term support, and the standard version and the stable version was .NET 7, which is short-term support. So basically, we have two support versions from the Microsoft: long-term support, short-term support. So short-term means it is mainly 18 months or something. Would generally not prefer any company to migrate it to .NET, short-term support versions, because after 18 months, it is going to release another version, which again becomes difficult for the company to upgrade. So hence, everyone is looking for a long-term support. Okay, coming to this .NET. Okay, as I mentioned, it doesn't have any official abbreviation for this. It is a software development area or the domain. Okay, so which is basically designed for developing different applications. So it is a software framework, right? That is firmware framework designed for developing different applications like mobile applications, desktop applications, web applications, microservices, and IoT, Internet of Things, and cloud, cloud apps we can develop. And last but not least is gaming. Applications also can be developed using Microsoft .NET. So this was introduced by Microsoft, which basically having a provision to develop different applications. Okay, so Microsoft has begun developing .NET framework. As I said, before 2016, it is named as .NET framework. After 2016, it is named as .NET Core, which is enhanced version of .NET Framework. Now it is calling as .NET. The latest version of .NET is .NET 8. Okay, so the initial version of .NET Framework is 1.0, right? Which was released in the year 2002. So actually, Microsoft was started developing this .NET framework in 1990s, late 90s, originally under the name of Next Generation Windows Services as part of .NET strategy, but the initial version was come out in 2002. So the main purpose of this .NET Core, what we're talking about today, is it is a new version of .NET framework, right? .NET Core is a new version of .NET framework, right? It is a open source. Anyone can download and install and use it for developing applications. It's a general purpose development platform maintained by Microsoft. Okay, so it is a cross-platform framework that runs on any OS. So .NET Core is a platform-independent open source software framework which is going to run on Microsoft Windows, Mac OS, Linux, other operating systems as well. When it comes to .NET Core framework, it is also using it for developing different applications. .NET Core also used to develop the above mentioned applications. Okay, so the .NET Core is having two words. Core is nothing but a main functionality of a .NET framework has been changed, right? And added new features to the .NET framework and it named it as .NET Core. And .NET is a software framework designed for developing different applications. As I mentioned, .NET does not have any official abbreviation, but sometimes we can call it as network enabled technology, right? Network enabled technology, which is used to develop different applications, but it is not officially announced. Okay. So if you get started learning of this .NET Core, right, you need to understand the .NET Framework initial version, and then you need to understand what is the latest version of .NET Framework and .NET Core, and then .NET. And also we need to think of why do we need .NET Core? Why do we need .NET Core? There are some limitations with .NET Framework, which is an initial version. As I mentioned, this is the initial version the Microsoft has been released. That is, starting version is 1.0. Okay, and this .NET Framework is having some limitations. For example, it only runs on Windows. .NET Framework has some limitations. One is it only runs on Windows. This is a major limitation with .NET Framework. So second one is you need to use different .NET APIs for different Windows devices such as Windows Desktop, Windows Store, Windows Phone, and web applications. In addition to this, the .NET Framework is a machine-wide framework. Any changes made to this framework, which is going to affect all applications, right? And it is taking a dependency. Today's, it is a common to have an application that runs across devices, a backend on the web server, admin front end on Windows desktop, web and mobile apps for consumers. So there is a need for a single framework that works everywhere. So considering this, Microsoft has created a .NET Core. Second thing is we need to use different APIs for different applications or different devices, right? Suppose if I want a kind of UI for admins, I need to go for different API. If I want a mobile users to be used an application, I need to go for other API, right? That way I need to choose different APIs from the .NET itself to create different device applications. Understood? Example, suppose like I wanted to run a backend, okay, as in a microservice. I need to choose .NET Web API. Okay, today it is common to have an application that runs across devices. Like it only, like devices. I can say a backend on the web server, admin at front end on Windows desktop, okay, or web, and I need to have mobile application for consumers, right? So there is a need for a single framework. So with all this, I need to have, okay, a single framework application that works everywhere. So I need to have different, device to be used the same application as I mentioned here. The backend is web server and front end is web. Okay. And for the consumers who are going to access my website, they want a mobile application. So with all these, I need to have a single framework application, right? That works everywhere. But coming to the .NET framework, it is not possible. We have to choose different APIs to create this kind of applications, and we need to develop different applications, and after that, we need to integrate. So by looking at this, so considering this, Microsoft created .NET Core. So using .NET Core, we can develop single application or single framework application which is going to work anywhere. Okay, so that is the main reason that we need to choose .NET Core. So we have different characteristics in the .NET Core. Let me list out those characteristics of .NET Core. One thing is cross-platform. Second thing is modular architecture. And third thing is supports multiple languages. Fourth one is wide range of applications. Wide range of and CLI tools. So these are some characteristics which got introduced in .NET Core. When I talk about this class platform, .NET Core runs on Windows, Mac OS, Linux, etc. There are different runtimes for each operating system that executes the code and generates the same output. That's what the beauty of .NET Core. Coming to the modular architecture, .NET Core supports modular architecture using NuGet packages. There are different NuGet packages for various features that can be added to the .NET Core project. So each .NET, a NuGet package is going to have a separate modular architecture. Coming to the multiple languages, you can use a C Sharp or F Sharp or VB programming languages instead of .NET Core to develop .NET applications. You can use your favorite IDE, including Visual Studio 2017, 19, 22, also Visual Studio Code, Sublime, or VIM in the Unix, or different editors can be used to create .NET applications, which basically supports multiple languages. So wide range of applications means, so there are various type of applications can be developed and run on .NET Core framework, such as mobile, desktop, web, IoT, and machine learning gaming applications. And coming to the CLI tools, which we are talking about, .NET Core includes CLI tools, that is command line interfaces for development and running of your .NET application. Okay, so these are the characteristics we have in .NET Core. So formally, this .NET framework provides extensive tools and class libraries that make it one of the most productive platform for programmers. It offers multi-language support, as I mentioned, and some common APIs and other services that allow developers to build high-quality applications in less time. Okay, so I'll just show you the architecture or the diagrammatical representation of .NET Framework and .NET Core for more understanding. So if you look at here, this says .NET Framework, which initially developed in 2002 with version 1.0. This only supports and runs on Windows, right? This is also having multiple languages, VB, C Sharp, F Sharp, and these three languages are having common language intermediate. The libraries like common intermediate language or common language uh, compilers, and it is also having framework class libraries which supports default classes and default libraries which comes up with different methods to do some required actions. So this was introduced in 2002 February, as I mentioned, starting version. And inside of this architecture we have a CLR, virtual machine or virtual extension, and just-in-time compiler JIT, and security, memory management, and exception handling. So this is the basic architecture of a .NET framework which got installed on top of Windows. This is a framework domain which is used for developing different applications, but it only runs on Windows. Okay, when it comes to core, okay, so it has got taken only kind of a layer in the .NET framework like runtime layer, and Microsoft has added different features to this to support platform independence and same APIs for developing different applications. Look at here, it has high performance and it has microservices. It is optimized for the cloud and it is going to run on different operating systems and still have different languages, right? Also, it support other languages like Angular, React, Python, etc. This is also having common language runtime or common intermediate language, and it's having framework class library, but it named it as CoreFX, and it is having modular framework. As I mentioned, it is coming up with NuGet package manager where you can install different frameworks and different versions of libraries, and it is taken only runtime part from the existing .NET framework, and they have added all these features. So that's why they name it as Agile. You know what is Agile? Agile is a software development framework which works on sprints, and the every sprint is going to have 2 weeks or 4 weeks of work, and fully qualified and full stack developers are going to work in the Agile methodology, which can be having weekly reviews and weekly demos. That way, it is going to show you the progress of development. So similarly, when they started this .NET Core, they have taken a part of .NET Framework runtime in June 2016, right? They started inventing different features on top of this .NET Framework. Okay. So this is open source. Again, it is having core CLR and virtual machine and improved JIT compiler, memory management, security, and exception handling. All the features are available in .NET Core also. The only thing is you need to note down here is it is high performing and having microservices and having provision to support different operating systems. It's open source to everyone. Okay, so this is something about a .NET Core introduction. Okay, so as part of this .NET Core introduction, right? So we have seen the difference between .NET Framework and .NET Core. So before 2016, it is named or calling as .NET Framework, And after 2016, it is named as .NET Core, which is a enhanced version of .NET Framework, right? And the latest versions of .NET is 8, but the stable version is .NET 7, which is STS, short-term support. Okay, the initial version of the .NET framework is 1.0, which was released in the year 2002. Okay, so Core is a new version of .NET framework, and it is open source, right? And also used to develop the above mentioned applications. And the abbreviation can be this one, but not officially released or mentioned by Microsoft. But sometimes some people are saying about this .NET is a network enabled technology which is going to be used to develop different applications. So when we talk about why do we need .NET Core, these are the limitations with .NET Framework, hence we have to use a .NET Core. And coming to this .NET Core, the characteristics, one is cross-platform. Nowadays, every application is going to run on every operating system. We must require this. Second one is modular architecture, where we can install the NuGet package manager and can install the required namespaces, and supports multi-languages, F Sharp, VB, C Sharp, and wide range of applications can be implemented, like microservices, gaming applications, IoT, machine learning, etc. And it is coming up with CLI tools where you can just run through a command line interface, no need of having Visual Studio Editor. Still, you can use .NET Core, create .NET Core, run .NET Core, build .NET Core, publish. These are the CLI commands coming in the .NET Core version. Okay, I hope you understand the basic differences between .NET Framework and .NET Core, and the characteristics of .NET Core, and the latest version of .NET Core or .NET right now, and the initial version of a .NET Framework. Okay, so thanks for listening to this video, and please subscribe this channel for more videos. Thank you.